Megavon and friends, welcome to another leveling guide to Lotro. Today we'll be taking you from the walls of Moria to the fields of Rohan. The goal of this guide is to get you from around level 50 to level 75 without losing all your hair, sanity, or too much time. First, I'm going to go over some assumptions and criteria we use to decide which zones are best. Number 1, quest density. You have to be able to out-level the zone within the zone. Not a big problem for Moria, but it is something to keep in mind. Number 2, mob density. No one likes aggro storms, and this can be a huge problem in Moria. Number 3, fun and varied zones. Everyone hates trudging through identical zones, even if they're beautiful. This one is kind of a problem for Moria because, well, the long dark of Moria is a pretty fitting description. Number 4, lore value. It's not a huge consideration for a leveling zone, but if you are playing Lotro, lore is definitely important. Now, our last video dropped you off at the walls of Moria. First, you will run all over the walls of Moria zone, doing side quests, helping dwarves, fighting the Watcher in the water. This is the chain that gets you your first legendary weapon. You do have to do it. It also includes my favorite voice actor. The guy that does Broeen is amazing, but that's neither here nor there. So there is a temptation to blitz through this and not do too many of the side quests. Really, the side quests give you primarily jewelry. So you're going to want to look at your left side gear, and if it's pretty good, if you don't have a bunch of level 20 or so stuff, then yeah, go ahead, blitz through it. I nearly always blitz through it. Another thing to consider before entering Moria is your mount. If you don't have a goat, get one. There are other usable mounts, but if you want to be able to ride in Moria, you're going to need a goat. Thorin's Hall reputation or Ale Association for creeps like me is the best way to do it. At this point, they're going to send you on a bunch of really annoying quests back and forth. Basically, you're going to be going to Rivendell, and then you're going to be going to Thorin's Hall, and then you're going to be going back, and then you're going to be going back, and you're going to grind 10 levels on your weapon, and you're going to go back to Thorin's Hall. I'm going to be honest, it's kind of a pain in the neck. You're definitely going to want to set some travel points for this as well. You're going to want one in Echad Dunan, just outside, and you're going to want another one. You can have it in Rivendell, you can have it in capital city of your choice, Bree, Thorin's Hall, the Shire, wherever you plan on having or wherever your character has their main hub. And you can use the racials for this. Those can be wonderfully handy at times like this. Really, to me, if you're going to play through this, you're going to want 2 milestone skills. And on this character, I actually have them cut down to 5 minutes, which is kind of overkill, but it is really handy at times. Now, once you have all that set, you're going to go in, you're going to fight the Watcher in the water one more time, and you're going to be at the gates of Moria. Now, it's really fun. Definitely give yourself some time to go through the cutscenes. The view is kind of amazing. I do love going through the quest. But once you're at that point, you're going to be going in. The Great Delving is probably the worst designed zone in Moria. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go in and follow this road. As long as you have a goat, you can race straight through to Dolven View, which is the first hub. Then you're going to ride back. Now, this is a slow mount travel. There's no fast travel to here. So you're going to ride back out. You're going to pick up the quests, and you're going to do all the little feeder quests that get you in. And they're going to get you through, the first little bit, and they're going to get you to Dolven View. This is not a great zone, but you do need to level up in this. I would say 48, 49 should be your goal for Dolven View, for this zone. Now, once you get through Dolven View, you're going to be heading north up to Durins Way. However, if you can't get to Dolven, or if you can't get to that 48, 49, you're going to want to head south to the Silvertine Lodes. Deep Descent is literally a 2-minute walk, even if you broke your ankles like I just did, from Dolven View. It does have a couple of quests. It is an extremely confusing zone. I don't recommend actually doing it. So go ahead, knock out a couple quests there if you need to, and then you're going to want to head north to Durins Way. Okay, once you've reached the Chamber of the Crossroads, what you're going to want to do is, well, first off, you're going to want to get the travel point that goes, or you're going to want to run through the winding road here down to the 21st Hall and pick up the travel point to the 21st Hall, because that is the main hub in this game. That is an immensely, or not in this game, but in this zone. There's an immensely important part of Moria is getting the 21st Hall. So Durin's Way is a very, how to put it? It's a pretty contentious zone. I have to say the first 2 zones you go through are going to be, in a lot of ways, the hardest ones for you to deal with. Durin's Way has a lot of aggro storms. You're going to do a bunch of quests up here in Mudmil Zarak and in Ninkak Faltor, and that's aggro storm hell. You are going to pick up Ziraxagil, and you'll get to see Durin's Bane. You're also going to go through the garden here, and once you get through the garden, you're going to do a whole bunch of quests. This is an incredibly dense area. And you can even get out through the Fanged Pit. I haven't done that on this character. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But again, it's a very good zone, but there are aggro storms in every one of these areas, so you definitely want to be extremely careful. Also, this well, it's kind of important. It's from the actual book, and going down it, you can win yourself a title. Well-traveled. Because, you know, that's how we do things. Not really much to see here. It does take you to the waterworks. The waterworks is kind of the reason you do Durin's Way. Silvertine Lodes and waterworks are probably 2 of the worst zones in Moria. And that's why you go through Durin's Way, even though it is potentially really, really rough. Definitely reset your milestone from Icha Dunan to 21st Hall. Oh, you should be in the 52 to 53 area. Don't go to Nude Melek. Do not go to... don't loop around this way. Second Hall and First Hall are extremely difficult zones, and you can end up in there if you aren't paying attention. You are going to go there, you're just not going to go there right now. So we're going to pick this up when we get to the next zone. Okay, the next zone we're going to go to is going to be the Redhorn Lodes. Now, this is assuming you've hit that 52 to 53 area, and you honestly, you should have been able to get there pretty easily by this point. You do want to catch up on the Epic. That's definitely something that you want to do basically while you are in the 21st Hall, while you're dealing with this. You don't really want to do much actual questing in Zelamelech. It is, frankly, an atrocious zone, but this is going to be a really... Redhorn Lodes is a fantastic zone. It is very beautiful. This has a lot of the palaces of the dwarves aesthetic going for it. Back here you've got the instance, the gathering instances, which is pretty important when you're doing the basically when you're doing that part. From here, and it's also got very good quest density. It's probably not the best, definitely not up there with like Durins Way as far as quest density, but you're also not dealing with aggro storms every 30 seconds. Now, from here, you're probably going to get to maybe 54, 55, and that's going to leave you a little bit short when it comes time to move on. Fortunately, you've got a couple of very good zones after this. The first one is the Flaming Deeps. Flaming Deeps is a fantastic zone. You can't really go straight here, otherwise I'd recommend doing it once you finish in Durins Way. Honestly, if you just wanted to knock out like one level in Redhorn Lodes and move over to Flaming Deeps, that would be perfectly fine. Do as much as you can in Flaming Deeps. You should get up around 57, 58, and then very, very briefly you're going to want to go to the Foundations of Stone. Foundations of Stone is lore-wise the most important zone. There's a lot of stuff here, from the Endless Stair to part of Gandalf's battle with the Balrog, to a lot of the nameless creatures that gnaw at the bones of the earth. This is really an important zone. It is an aggro storm nightmare, so you do want to be very careful about mobs there. Once you've done that, you're going to pop back to 21st Hall, and you're going to race all the way around to the first hall and out to the Dimral Dale. Now, at this point, we're going to talk about a couple of zones that we skipped over. Silvertine Lodes is a mess. I've already said that a few times. The first couple zones are just really rough. The map is confusing. The quests are rough. The mobs have annoying debuffs. All the mobs in Moria have annoying debuffs. That's something you're going to have to deal with. Silvertine Lodes takes it to the extreme, especially if you are a melee class. Waterworks, there's a lot of swimming. It's the revenge for fixing Everswim is that you have to deal with the waterworks. Oh my goodness, is it bad. It does have one of the Vilemaw. I think that's one of the raids. I couldn't tell you, to be honest. The other zone, Zelamelech, has really wonky mob density. Sometimes it's really thick, sometimes it's not, and it's just so weird. And finally, Nudmelech is just not really necessary. I mean, lore-wise, you do have a fragment of the Endless Stair, you do have the bridge, and you're going to go here as part of the epic, but it just isn't a very important zone. Finally, we're going to show a little bit of the Foundations of Stone, and you can tell this is just a very different aesthetic from anything else that you've seen here. But with that, really, that's all you're going to need to do in Moria. It is going to take you a little while. It's going to take more than a couple of nights to grind through it, but especially the first time you go through here, it's a beautiful zone. It's very different from anything else you're going to encounter in your whole time in Middle-earth and Lotro, so don't rush through it. So at this point, you're going to hop on your goat, you're going to head to the first hall, and it's going to be time to head out into the Dimral Dale. So before we move on to the next set of zones, we're going to talk about the two choices you have as far as where to go. And I know my choice is going to be more than a little bit controversial. In fact, if this gets the kind of traffic that the last leveling guide did, it could very well set the comments on fire, which would actually be completely fine by me. After leaving Moria, you can choose to go east into Karas Galatham, and eventually into Mirkwood, or west to Enedwaith. CG is, of course, a storied city. It is a beautiful city, as you can see by the video here. You're going to be going here no matter what. I found out on this character, I actually have a bunch of main story quests that I need to do, so oops. However, I get tired of it really fast. The sad elves are incredibly depressing, and southern Mirkwood manages to make Moria look well lit. And by this point, you will be very tired of dim, dark, nasty places. So you're going to do some of the epic book here, but you're not really going to enjoy it very much. So we're going to go to Enedwaith. Now, Enedwaith is the first part of a huge, huge shift from this kind of mystical, magical, in the Tolkien sense, world where you don't necessarily have wizards throwing fireballs, but the very ground itself seems enchanted, to this very stark, simple, human, everyday sort of land. And that's going to be a big factor in the entire rest of the game up to the current level cap of 105. So you're going to go to Enedwaith, you're going to start in Fordrith, you're going to catch up with the Grey Company. This is the route the Grey Company takes as they ride to Aragorn's aid. You're going to come down through the Windfells into Nan Leglin. You're going to do a couple quests here. You're also going to go into the Gloom Glens and Martulau, which is where you're going to run into the Hobbits again. This is where the Hobbits spent a great deal of time on their journey into that would eventually lead them to the Shire. This is actually one of the first places they went to. After they came through the pass, they actually didn't go through the pass. They went, yep, and I've completely lost myself. They actually came through, I'm guessing what's now, they came up from the Gladden Fields, which is where Smeagol found the ring. They actually came around through the Gap of Rohan, as well as various other passes into Eriador. And a great number of them settled in Enedwaith and around Dunland with the Dunlandings, before finally making their way into the Shire. Completely random side fact there. So you're going to be in here from level, call it 58, to around, I'd say, let's see if I can remember right. This runs until you get 65. Yeah, 65 is the cap here. And then at 65, you're going to get to, also some neat dwarven lore. This is where Thror, Thrain's father, set up his little settlement, I guess, when they were ejected from Erebor. So this just has a lot of, I guess, small lore. Huh. Interesting. I don't think I'd been here before. Oh, this is for one of the raid clusters. Okay. I get it. This is for the horrible broken dragon raid, so we're not going to worry too much about that. So you're going to go to Gloom Glens, you're going to go into Mornshaw's. I would also recommend doing Lich Bluffs if you can remove Fear and Shadow abilities, because you're going to see a lot of them. Once you're done with that, you're going to go to Dunland, and as you can see, I picked the wrong character to show this. Dunland will take you from 70 to... Honestly, I really enjoy Dunland, but once you've done Entered Waith, it does kind of pale in comparison. Knock out the epic book, get to, say, 72. And at 72, you're going to pop out, and you're going to go back to Lothlorien, and then you're going to go down into the Great River, and you're going to get yourself up until as close to 75 as you care to get. Anytime after 72, you're good, you're ready to go into Rohan. All right, folks, thank you very much for listening to me prattle on about where you should go, what you should do. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead, give it a like, share it with your friends, with your kin in game. If you have any comments, requests, additions you'd like to see, let us know. For Digital.Flash.Fire, this is Dan. Thank you very much, and have a great day.